Hey y'all, welcome to the first episode of High Tea Honey.
Welcome.
I'm Nika.
And I'm Shantae.
We're so excited.
Super excited to be here with you all today.
It's been a long time coming, y'all.
Yeah, this podcast really was one of those things that we've kind of spoken about for years. Like, oh, we should do a podcast. Ooh, when we do our podcast, we're going to talk about X, Y, and Z. And now we're finally here.
Finally.
And I'm really excited.
I'm excited.
Shout out to us.
Okay. Because we did that. Yeah.
So what can people expect from our podcast overall?
I think the biggest thing that you can expect from our podcast is just honesty, real conversation, real candid conversations.
About what?
I guess like different circumstances that we have been through. Some that we're actually still going through and we're working through individually and together. And that we're also working through as a family. Because if y'all haven't noticed that we're married.
That's my wife.
That's my wife.
That's my wife.
Yeah, we're married to each other.
Yes.
2 years.
2 years.
Oh,
it'll be 2 years in June.
2 years. Coming around that corner. Even though I feel like we've been together for a lifetime. Yeah, that's my best friend. Tear. Yeah, so we're just going to be talking about like different topics, a lot of things that we have experienced that we are finally able to give language to, that we may not have known what we were going through at the time, sharing like what that journey has taught us, what we've learned, how we evolved from those things, and also what we still learning from that, because sometimes, you don't make it through the lesson the first time, so you got to repeat that bad boy again.
Yeah, I mean, and because life is a continuing evolution, we're constantly evolving, constantly changing. Like the work to become your truest self, I don't know if it ever really ends.
Mm-mm. Your nose ring moving. There you go. Yeah. So today's episode, we're actually going to be talking about
moving from force to ease.
Yes. Ooh, what a topic. But segue into a little corner of our show that we like to call The Sip. And Bae, you want to take it away?
I'll take it away. So The Sip, we're basically talking about what we're drinking, if we're drinking anything. And I have some mucus cleanse tea. Just want to do something a little bit healthy. What's in your cup?
I am drinking some Simply. And y'all, this is my sister cup that she made. Okay, go follow Bella's Trinkets on IG.
Hey, Rainy.
Hey, girl. So yeah, I'm sipping on just some juice. Some Simply raspberry. That's what I'm drinking. What else you sipping on, babe?
So right now I am listening to an audiobook by Louise Hay. I always want to call her Hayes, but I think it's just Hay. Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. I just started it a couple of days ago. And so far, very good. A lot of great things to think about and consider. So I'm really looking forward to continuing listening. She also has like exercises in there that you can kind of go through and like use to reflect on yourself and reflect on your family life and existence, to help you understand like what you believe and how to shift your beliefs to something that's more helpful for you.
Okay. Well, what I'm sipping on as far as books go, I am listening to an audiobook as well. I am listening to my auntie Tabitha's book that I am so pressed up about.
It's so good, y'all.
I have to make myself stop listening to it, because I'll try to listen to it all in one day, and I think I'll end up missing gems out of it. And then aside from that book that I'm reading, I'm also reading 2 other books right now but they're books about numerology and about astrology because I am very, 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 very big on understanding who I am.
And that's what our podcast is about. Understanding who we are.
Who we are, why we're here, what we're here to do, and how we could be a gift and a light to ourselves and others. Because child.
Yeah, and child, everything starts within.
Very much so.
So that's the first gem of the podcast. Everything starts within. That's the first gem and kind of like the foundation.
What else you sipping on? You listening to any music?
Oh, music. Well, earlier today I was listening to Stevie Wonder, Don't You Worry About a Thing, because it was stuck in my head. It came from somewhere. So that's my song of the day, or my song of right now.
Okay. I'm actually re-listening to, how do you say her name? Charlotte Wilson Day. Is that how you say her name?
Charlotte Day Wilson.
Charlotte Day Wilson. Toni Braxton's little sister.
Yeah, it's giving Toni Braxton Jr. If y'all have never heard of this girl, please go listen to one of her songs. Yeah. And you're going to be like, what?
I'm re-listening to her album, Alpha. I don't know, that album just really, really speaks to me. My favorite song is called Mountains, which is basically talking about, like, what I got from it. I don't really understand, like, what she was trying to convey in the song. But what I understand about it is, like, how you, like, basically are, like, traveling, like, up this mountain, basically to, like, evolve yourself. And they always talking about like mountains and valleys, like you climbing up the mountain and you get to the top, but then eventually you got to go back down. That's what I got from the song, but I'm not really sure about what her intentions was for the way she was singing the song. But that was the message that I received from the song. So shout out to you, Charlotte, girl. I love the album. I really do.
Yeah, she's super dope.
Yeah. All right, how you feeling?
I feel good. I feel excited. Like, I'm happy to finally be here doing this. I'm excited.
You had a good weekend?
Yes, I had a good weekend. I feel a little tired from the weekend. But, you know, I feel a little energized in this space right now.
Yeah, I feel the same. We were together this weekend.
Of course.
You know, I didn't work this weekend. So we were together. You know, holding down the fort, holding down the company that we had, hosting. I'm a little exhausted too, so I'm happy to be off today. But yeah, I'm happy to be here. I feel good today. We had a great weekend. I'm just thankful.
Amen. Big on the gratitude over here. Big on the gratitude.
Yeah. So, without further ado, let's move right on into our topic.
All right. Moving from force to ease.
Moving from force to ease.
So what is that? Like, what does that mean? Do you want me to start, child?
You know what that means for me. Moving from force to ease, what it sounds like is a challenge up front for me personally, just because I have basically just forced my will into everything that I have done so far in my life. And now Holy Spirit is telling me to be in flow and move with ease. And it is a struggle for me. So what it sounds like to me is a challenge.
All right, that's fair. And always like keep it real.
Yes.
So moving from force to ease, I think this is really for individuals who may be noticing that things are kind of like hard to accomplish. Like, to reach a goal, it's like you gotta, you know, I got it out the mud. Like, you know, it's that type of thing. And like, not to minimize the I got it out the mud mentality, because, you know, people really do work hard for the things that they want. So it's not about like you're not determined or that you're not willing to work. But I think it's more of an idea of life don't have to be hard.
Yeah.
It don't always have to be a struggle. Like, you don't always have to be striving or like kind of like you said, forcing your will to get things done.
Mm-hmm.
It's more about, I think, developing a level of inner trust that you know that things will happen as they need to happen for you, and you can ease through that versus like trying to manipulate situations or manipulate people to kind of have things happen exactly the way that you expect them to,
or in the time frame that you want them to. Like when you think about people who are like goal oriented, some people, you know, set timelines or deadlines for themselves. So I think that's another way that we are really, really forceful, like just trying to make sure that something is done by a certain time. Also, just thinking about the word you use, manipulative or manipulating. You'll hear us use a lot of words that people may perceive to be negative. But our words are not exactly negative. It's the, what would you say, the intention behind how you use the word. But when you think about manipulative or manipulate, most people put a negative connotation on it. But I really do feel like you could use manipulation in a lot of different ways, even though the biggest way that we experience manipulation is from a negative context. But I do think that sometimes we do kind of manipulate, you know, situations to get them to work out in our favor. But I don't think that is a negative manipulation that we're using. So I just wanted to add that little footnote.
Yeah, I have a couple footnotes too. So I think like the main distinction for me is fear. Like, am I operating out of fear, which force is a form of fear?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I flowing because I trust that I have everything that I need at all times?
Come on,
so that's the ease portion of it. And, you know, like there's nothing wrong with setting goals or like coming up with timelines or plans. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think the true marker is if you can ask yourself, am I operating out of fear with this? Like, am I being aggressive because I feel like it won't happen?
Mm-hmm.
Or because I feel like I'm going to miss my opportunity or whatever? Or like, are you allowing yourself to flow through the experience and like enjoy the experience?
Yeah, and be a part of every single little detail of the experience, which I could just say for myself personally, skipping over the details just to get to the accomplishment. And thank God for you, who has taught me how to slow down in that way. And like, no, like, look at what you're doing.
Because you be doing dope shit and you be trying to like, girl,
on to the next.
If you don't celebrate, this is a celebrate. Okay.
I know, right? So yeah, like looking at the details and like being a part of every single little intricate form of, you know, creating that idea and bringing it into your reality, I think is a beautiful experience of doing it in flow and in ease as well, which sometimes force can cause you to kind of just bypass that to just get to the finish line. But being a part of every single little stride of what you're doing, so that way the accomplishment feels a lot more sustainable and it feels a lot better at the end of it, and you ain't got that whole like, let me just move on to the next thing attitude. Mm-hmm. So we got a couple of questions, y'all. So Bay asked the first question already, which was, what does that mean? And our second question is, how have you been going about doing this?
I'll start on this one. For me, I'm really in a place where I am learning to slow down and how to go with my own flow versus a flow that has been set for me.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is, I think in this world, in this life, in this country in particular, there are a lot of expectations that get put on people in different ways. Expectations from family members, expectations from partners and spouses and children, expectations that we make up in our own mind about what we feel like other people want us to do.
Right.
So for me right now, it looks like just being so intimately close with myself, and like making sure that when I do things, I'm doing it because that is sincerely what I want to do at that time. And, just allowing myself to be who I am without a lot of extra filters. Because, like, I really do feel the ease in that. Like, as I practice that and, like, really, just trust myself more and prioritize myself more, I don't feel like I'm forcing anything. Like, I really am experiencing the ease. So just taking it slow, taking a step back, and just really, really practicing going with my own flow.
That was good, babe. Oh, thanks. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so on me now. How have I been going about it? Honestly, just pausing. Like, pausing to, like, really look at what I'm doing. And really, like, take in what I'm doing to assure that it's being done in the right way. Preferably the first time, but if I need to do it over, like, I can even recognize that mistake, honor that mistake, and then give myself the grace to start over. So, like, that is what it's been for me. Just, like, pausing and, like, look, Nika, look at what you're doing. Be fully present with what you're doing, like, because we know I be on the move.
That's a good thing, though. That's a good one.
Yeah, like,
shout out to you.
Yeah, really pausing and like look at it, be present with what you're actually executing to make sure like you have all the things in place. Because I want to use this little example when we was trying to build. When we built the kids' beds that first time, child, I'm just trying to hurry up and get it done because I'm like, I'm tired. I'm ready to go to bed.
And I'm very much so a let's read the directions type person.
Not me.
So
give me pictures any day.
That was a very interesting experience.
And then we ended up building the bed the wrong way and had to take it all the way apart. And Shantae had to be like, you need to like stop and pay attention. And, like, let's do this the right way so we don't have to be here again, taking this whole bed apart again to rebuild it again. So, I think that was, like, my first, like, biggest awareness of it. And then, of course, I've done it a lot more times since then. But I've been able to be more attentive with that now and just, like, really, like, pause, look at what I'm doing, bring myself fully into the moment and be a part of every single intricate little detail to assure that I'm getting it right the first time, and if not right the first time, recognizing the mistake of where I may have misstepped, giving myself the grace for that misstep, and then giving myself the mercy to start over without deep criticism or judgment. Yeah, your girl learning over here. Your girl is learning. So the next question is, how do you feel in the process?
I feel at home in the process. Like, it really feels like the best place for me to be. Because I think I'm more in an action place, like of taking action. But before the action is ever taken, I'm in a place of observation. Like, really just seeing myself. And, like, over the last several months, over the last few years, just, paying closer attention to how I operate. And it feels good because, like, I'm like, okay, I feel a lot calmer. I've noticed that my anxiety has shifted a lot to where I don't really experience it anymore. So it feels good. It feels empowering because now I feel more equipped to do dope shit. Like, to like free up that emotional kind of space on the inside. So now I don't have to create worry or create anxiety. I get to create whatever I want to create. So it feels really good to me.
Yeah, like that. Okay, so how I've been feeling in the process? Stressed.
And that's real.
And the reason why I've been feeling stressed is because I am adapting a new way of existing. And sometimes when you are adapting a new way of existing, it can be kind of worrisome in the beginning because you're not used to showing up in that way. That stress has subsided a lot. So I would say like I've been able to kind of like even recognize that I'm stressed, be okay that I feel the stress, and then like bring myself down off of that stress. But yeah, it's been kind of stressful just kind of adapting to this new normal, just because the way that I've kind of always existed in my life is just kind of like forcing and willing my way into stuff. And like, that's how I kind of, have a lot of the things that I have. It's because I was just I was just so forceful with what I wanted that I was able to obtain it. And so now that I am giving myself the space to exist in a different way, in a more enlightened way, in a more expanded way, it feels uncomfortable and kind of stressful, but it's going down. The stress is going down, and I can see how sometimes I feel a little bit more comfortable in it. And then sometimes when I notice the comfort, like that kind of shake me up a little bit, and the stress might rise up a little bit. But I'm like, no, you deserve to be here. You deserve to be in this new space, and you deserve to operate in this new space just like you operated in that prior space. You did well there, and let's see how well you do here. Yeah, so that's what it's been for me. The next question is, what have you learned by moving from force to ease?
It's a hard truth. And, at times I still find myself digesting it. But the reality is that what I have learned is that I was creating a lot of the problems that I had in my life. Simply by how I chose to look at things or how I chose to be in experiences. Like, it was definitely for a long time coming from a negative place, a place of lack, a place of insufficiency, a place of self-sabotage. And, at the time, it didn't seem like that. When I reflect back on certain moments, I was like, no, because they was tripping like they, when she was like,
quick to blame.
Quick, swift. But so I learned that a lot of the problems that I had, I created them by how I chose to think about it or how I chose to be in those experiences. And I think another thing that I learned is that I deserve my own grace. Like, I've always been a person who like can extend grace to other people and like be so encouraging. Like, that's one of the things that people say they like the most about me. Like, you're so calm, you're so sweet, you're so encouraging. But looking at that hard truth and looking back at those experiences where now, in a more enlightened place, I can see like, oh, that was you, friend. Like, it was me. I did it. But not to blame myself for that.
Yeah.
And like really have grace and compassion for the me that experienced that. Because if I knew better, I knowing me, I would have done better.
Okay, girl.
And I know people throw that around like, when you know better, you do better. That's not true for everybody. It's not. But I know for me, if I knew to do something differently, I would have. And, just having compassion for those experiences that I was looking at, because that shit was hard. And, it did feel like my life was over. It did feel overwhelming. It did feel like they did whatever.
Right.
So I think those are the two of the things. There are definitely more. But I think those are two big ones for me.
Yeah. like that a lot. And I also am piggybacking off of that as well, because the same for me. Like, I was the one that was causing like a lot of just the uproar in, a lot of those situations when I was, really, really operating from that space of force. Like, just the stress, the anxiety, even the depression around that. Like, just feeling just so down. But it's like I was the one dragging myself down, or I was the one that was operating from just these extreme cases of fear that showed up as stress and anxiety, because I was so afraid that I wasn't going to make a timeline, or I was so afraid that I wasn't going to be able to grasp that thing that I just desired so badly. And then also recognizing, just some of the other fear-based ways that I was showing up from a place of lack and self-sabotage. Yeah, look, I got Pluto in the 12th house, so forgive your girl. Just that self-destructive, kind of thing, was causing a lot of the problems in my life. So being able to, sit myself down and be like, Nika, look at you. Look at what you're doing, my girl. Look at what you're doing. What can you be doing different? Do you know what to do different? And if you don't know what to do different, ask me, Holy Spirit, and I will tell you. And when I didn't know what to do differently, I just gave myself the space to just not do anything at all to get that clarity about how I needed to move differently. And most of the time, for a long time, it showed up outside of me through a messenger. She's usually my messenger, which I'm so thankful. Thank you for always being a vessel and letting Holy Spirit speak through you. But now, that I've learned to trust myself more, Holy Spirit speak directly to me and be like, it's you, girl. And so now, I can recognize that I'm putting the stress on myself. I'm putting the worry on myself, from these just very low vibrational fears, as if it's not mine to have, or as if I already don't own it. It's just not in this realm. It's just not here in this 3D realm, but it's already yours, so like I definitely had to piggyback off of what you were saying, just about how recognizing that is you, and just being able to, sit yourself down and reflect on that, and then help rise yourself up and use all of the different facets of who you are as a person, to help bring you into a new way of being in that.
And what you just said,
man, you moving your feet around.
I didn't move my feet.
The cord.
What you just said, honestly, is, I think, the perfect definition of moving from force to ease. Like, being able to pause, sit yourself down, and like really get clear about what needs to be done. Because sometimes force is really just like, we gonna go at it till we can't go at it no more, or we are going to like, I'm gonna push and I'm gonna strive. But it's like, are you wasting, I don't want to say wasting your energy, but could your energy be better used in a different way?
Yes.
Like, because sometimes that force mentality, that mindset, like, it keeps you going, but it's like, are you going at the right things?
Mm-hmm.
So like, that's what that pause is, to like get clear and seek internal counsel from yourself, because you are wise, and you do have wisdom, and you do know what to do. You just have to learn how to get in touch with that. Yeah. And like, that's what the ease is, and that's what the pause is. So I love that you said that in that way, because that really is, I think, the perfect description.
Yeah, I like. Thank you for sharing that, babe. I really like that. That was a good one. Okay, y'all, we're gonna move to our last and final question. And our last and final question is, what's something you can celebrate about your journey?
What can I celebrate about my journey? Well, first and foremost, I celebrate that I showed up for the journey.
Mm-hmm.
Because I understand that it's a choice. You have to choose to be your best self. You have to choose to thrive. I was gonna say you have to choose to evolve. I think you kind of do, like, to be an active participant in your evolution versus like being in a state of like things are just happening around me and I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
So I celebrate the fact that I showed up for this journey. I celebrate that I stick with it because it's not easy all the time. Even though I am moving to a place where I try to experience ease and joy a lot more every day. Sometimes I'm faced with things that are uncomfortable. Sometimes I learn things about myself or notice things about myself that I'm like, damn, I do that. So just that I can show up. And then like I celebrate myself along the way.
Yeah.
So like when I notice behavior shifts or changes, like sometimes I'll just be like, good job, Shantae. Good job, friend. You did it. Or I'll come tell you, be like, babe, let me tell you what I just learned about myself. So that like making it known, making my progress known to myself first and foremost. And, sometimes I share it with you or with other people. But yeah, I think those are the things that I celebrate the most.
Oh, yeah.
How about you, friend?
I would actually have to say the same thing. Like just showing up and being like a part of it, like an active participant in like how my life is like transpiring and like how it's evolving and developing. Like not just being like a bystander, just kind of like letting my life happen. What else? I have a hard time celebrating things. But in those moments when I do kind of be like, okay, Nika, okay.
All right.
I see where you actually implemented that tool. Like I see where you like took that pause or took that moment or you were fully a part of that experience so that way it could leave that impression in you. I definitely agree with what you said, and I think that those are the ways that I've been able to kind of celebrate myself too. Because, sometimes, y'all, this evolution be dragging me. Your girl be getting drug through the mud. But I wouldn't change it, but sometimes I'd be like, Lord, where are you? Where are you, Father?
I think it's important to celebrate though, because like what's that saying? Don't let perfection be the enemy of progress, or something along those lines.
Like that quote, but I like it.
I'm pretty sure I'm not saying it exactly as it was first said or written, but the gist is the same. Like, and I think that just comes back around to our topic. Moving from force to ease, sometimes that perfection can be forced.
Oh.
It's the fear of not being good enough or the fear of whatever you're afraid of.
Yeah, looking like a crazy person or looking like you're not doing enough or not looking like you're elevating by a certain age. Age, and, that age is that age thing.
It get people, honey.
Chokehold.
I gotta do such and such by the time I'm such and such, and I'm gonna have such and such number of kids by the time whatever. Like,
yeah, trying to force things and then things end up not being what you wanted them to be. You end up not being as prepared, so then you're forced into like the situation, and you kind of gotta grow up through the situation. Versus if you were a little bit more patient and a little bit more informed about what, that situation was going to bring to you, you would have a little bit more tools in your toolbox.
Yeah, it's all about tools. And I believe that none of us are too good for tools. None of us are too good for support and assistance and love from ourselves and from other people. Tools.
Webby had us in a chokehold with that independent, y'all. I ain't no more. I'm taking all the help, all the support.
Okay.
I can get, and I'm giving it.
Yeah.
And the best ways that I can give it to others too.
from a place of love without feeling like guilty or ashamed. Like, I'm supposed to be able to do X, Y, and Z by myself. Who told you that? Who told you? Who said it? Oh, you said it. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, do you want to check in with yourself about that to see, like, if that's really serving you to do what you want to do? And that's really all it is. Just checking in with yourself, understanding where you at, who you are, what you got going on, being able to see the choices that you make, not through the lens of the people around you, but, you know, for yourself, and then just deciding, like, if that is how you want to continue to move.
Yeah.
It sounds simple. Sometimes in action, it's a lot more nuanced.
Yeah.
But really, things don't have to be hard.
They don't have to be hard. I have to remember that because, child, we know I'll create a situation.
So do you have like any tools or any tips that you would share for somebody who is maybe new to this? They don't really know about force or ease, or maybe somebody who is like, you know, actively practicing that shift. Do you have any tips or tools?
You know, I'm new to this, so, you know, I can relate to the other side a little bit better because I've been on that side of the fence a little longer. For people who are still on the side of the fence of force, and they can recognize, you know, that, you know, life or, you know, spirit is just kind of telling them to be more in flow and slow down. I would say, like my good girlfriend once said, Alice Smith, be easy. Be easy. Like, if your spirit is telling you to slow down and move with ease, be easy in that. And just allow your life to evolve as it's supposed to, because I know we always use that saying, you know, life is short, but life is long. It's short and it's long. It's both. Two things can be true. It's short, but it's long, and you got a long way to go, and you have plenty of time to get to where you desire to get and become who you desire to be and have the things that you desire to have. So be easy in that. That would be my tip for y'all. And go stream her song, Be Easy. You'll appreciate that song.
That's good. I would say know that you can't do anything wrong. And the reason I say that is because, you know, at different points through my life, I have found myself asking or saying things like, I just want to make the right choice. Without fully comprehending at the time that whatever choice I made is the right choice, or it was the right choice. And I can just see how now, like, that lens of knowing and like deeply knowing that everything is working together for my good, and I'm not doing anything wrong, and there's nothing wrong with me, and I'm not defective in any way. Like, it really does, like, help me be in the ease and, you know, alleviate some of that force. Because I think for me specifically, you know, the force was like kind of like a grasping, like I'm trying to grasp for something that I don't have.
Right.
But, you know, coming from the understanding that I already have everything that I need, and that, you know, this life is just an opportunity for me to experience that. I, you know, really have been able to see myself enjoying the flow, the ease more. So I would say that's like a big one.
And y'all ain't doing nothing wrong unless y'all like purposely trying to harm people.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, if you're doing something wrong, you know, like if you out here banging people over the head, like, we not condoning none of that.
We do not condone violence.
But I think, you know, coming from because life is a lot of choices. That's really all it is. You get to choose what you want to do. And like, I think it's more helpful to come from a place of like having that grace and compassion for yourself, understanding that, you know what, I'm all right with the choices that I make. Like, I can stand behind that with integrity. And, you know, if something doesn't turn out exactly the way that I think it should in this moment, I have enough grace and enough love and enough compassion to know that it'll eventually come back around for me.
Yeah, to do it different again and be better at it the next go round. Yeah, perfectionism will have you. That also have you in a chokehold.
Oh, yes, honey.
You gotta tell.
I'm a recovering perfectionist. Hello, my name is Shanti, and I'm a recovering perfectionist.
Hi, I'm Nika, and I am also a recovering perfectionist.
For real.
All right, y'all. So, I hope that this podcast was insightful and helpful. I'm glad that we finally had the opportunity to sit down and go over this topic. I really do hope, that, this topic and future topics that we bring to you guys really does spark something in you to just, be able to look at your life like in its fullness and take it step by step. And like, we all learning together, we're all evolving together. So if there's anything that you gained from this particular session, this particular episode, please leave us comments in the comment section below. We'll love to hear how y'all felt about it. Any tips that y'all may have if you're on this journey as well. Please share that with us as well. Our DMs are open as well.
Share the episodes with your friends and your loved ones so y'all can have y'all own conversations about it.
Yeah, because your tribe and like who's around you, like, that matters too. Like having people who are on the journey with you or people who even just want to go on a journey, but they may not feel like they can go on a journey. Sometimes they need other people around them who are doing it. So share, with people and y'all create y'all own discussions around it and we all can talk about it together. Like, I love growing my tribe, child. Tired of being a lone wolf, but I will be.
No, you just said you broke off that independent. Webby ain't got you no more, baby.
You see how Webby tried to sneak in there and had the girl in the chokehold again. Yeah, so thank y'all so much for coming. Thank y'all for watching. We look forward, to seeing y'all in our next episode.
Come back, y'all. It's going to be so good. I'm so excited.
I'm excited.
Come on back.
I'm so proud of us that we did this.
Yes.
And I'm excited for more.
Yes. All right. High Tea Honey podcast.
Yeah.
Signing off.
So, until next time, be well.
Be true.
Be you. Bye.